Hey whales, good morning. Happy Monday. It's August the 11th. Let's recap the markets and go over the top stocks to buy for today. And as always, guys, before we jump in, let's go over our trades so far this year to see how we're doing. And you guys can see we're doing really well, guys. We're up at 90K USD, 59% win rate across the board. We actually started off with only 100K at the beginning of this year. So 90K in profits, not too bad overall together. So congrats to everyone so far. And you guys can see as well, for the month of July, very solid month overall. We did end up at 9.9K USD in profits as well. So hopefully we can keep up this momentum going into August and September and have a great, end to our year as well. And you can see as well for the trades, everything from Bank of America to Chipotle, they're all posted in Discord, guys. So you get the swing trade ideas for those that are more busy with their lives and want bigger position sizes, longer term trades, as well as the day trade ideas for those that are more active every single day. You guys can trade alongside me. So these are all the things that you guys get with the Discord. So I look forward to seeing you here. We're going to make a lot of money together. The link is in the bio for you to join. Okay, so with that said, let's jump into the top stocks to buy. Now, first of all, we want to go over the S&P 500 just to get our bearings straight. And from what I'm seeing, I think we're still extremely bullish here. Looking for extensions higher for this 3, 4, 5th wave higher to finish off all of a wave 1 sequence. And then you'll most likely will get a catalyst for a wave 2 dip. Maybe some news, maybe, the Fed rates are already priced in. So when that news drops, maybe the markets start, getting some relief towards the downside a little bit and have a healthy correction. Again, markets are still very bullish. We're above the daily moving averages as well. So keep a lookout for the daily moving averages to continue coiling higher and keep pushing higher. And then when the markets sort of catch up and price catches up, look for that inflection point to, build out your positions, right? So that's a great opportunity to buy the dip. I don't think we're going to get any sort of Armageddon in the future for a while. I think this will be a great opportunity to buy on a dip and have a great, 2026 moving forward here, okay? So with that in mind, we are getting a little bit extended, right, from the 4th to the 5th wave. So probably not the best to go too deep, too crazy, but we can still call the markets higher for now. But just be aware that it is a little bit extended. So just, have some good risk management and don't risk too much on any single trade, okay? So now let's go into the top stocks to buy. Now, as always, I do love training multiple different patterns here. The first one is the inverse head and shoulders pattern. These patterns are essentially accumulations at the bottom, reversals potentially after a large downtrend. So we like to take a look at companies that money are flowing into potentially that are lagging. We also like flag positions, guys. So flags and bull flags are essentially trades that continuously go up. So continuation patterns within uptrends. So we like to do that. We also love pullbacks, guys. So any great names that are pulling back, I love to try to take a shot at. And then ultimately earnings beats. So any stocks that have beat their earnings this past quarter, we like to monitor them because they have a great story moving forward. So they could be a great buy if it's pulling back or if it's doing something funky. We like to see if it's a great time to sort of get in. Okay, so with that said, let's jump into the first name here, which is Alaska Airlines. So the airline industry is starting to look a little bit better, and in my opinion, has sort of seen its worst for a while. You can see we're making higher lows, starting to coil out, starting to get some equal highs here. So what does this mean? This means that the momentum is starting to build, and ultimately, guys, if you have equal highs, and then we're going to start making higher lows. Think of this as sort of a battering ram. Every time it tries to test this high, is starting to break down that door, and the more momentum, the more higher lows it builds, right? It has a better chance to break through. So you have a 62% chance of ascending triangles breaking and going higher. Okay, so we like the airline industry right now. We like anything leisure. So this could be a very interesting name moving forward. The second one is John Deere or Deere & Company. Deere & Company, you can see it's sort of accumulating across the moving averages here on a daily, which is a great support, right? So this is a fantastic starter position. We do have earnings coming up this Thursday. So if it does break down for earnings, you also have the 200 daily moving average as well for another starter position. So these are possibly an interesting level to get into a top industrial name, guys. So Deere & Company, fantastic to keep a lookout for. And a great name, great paying dividend as well. The third company we like that is accumulating is Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola is a great defensive name just in case there's seasonality that comes in within September. As you guys know, September is typically a very bearish month. We have this defensive name with great dividends, great sort of solid earnings, steady and slow, but ultimately a long-term winner, guys. You can see very nice coiling pattern, getting ready for a catalyst to break to all-time highs. So, a Coca-Cola could be a great name to add to diversify your portfolio just in case there's volatility within the horizon. Another name that I like is MasterCard. MasterCard is a fantastic company, right? Is a duopoly across any payment systems. You can see as well, coiling very nicely on the moving averages on the daily as well. You can see another name that I like is Walmart. We called this before, guys. We called Walmart on this coiling pattern that I mentioned. We should get into Walmart right away. And we started to break out. You guys can see that. So very similar pattern that you're starting to see on MasterCard. It's coiling out, triangle pattern on the moving averages. So I'm inclined to believe that it will go higher rather than lower. Okay, let's keep going. Another name that I love, Tesla. So Tesla, in my opinion, the worst is over for Tesla. Right, we had so much FUD, very abysmal earnings, robo-taxis, EV credits getting pulled out, Trump and Elon feud, but nothing can hold it down. We're starting to coil very nicely, and you guys know Tesla has been one of my bigger positions here as I've been accumulating from the lows. I do think it has a chance to actually break out and push higher. You guys can see as well, very similar name, Apple. Okay, Apple, we've mentioned this already when it was sort of coiling like this as well. The lagging names within the Mag 7s, you guys can see it's been downtrending, starting to move sideways. When you have a sideways movement after a downtrend, this is called accumulation. So once it breaks the higher high or the high resistance and starts making a higher high, now you have a reversal of a trend. So very similar to what's happening with possibly Tesla here, downtrend, moving sideways, and if it can start breaking and breaking sort of these highs, we're starting to make a higher high sequence. So very nice sort of structure so far for Tesla that I'm seeing. Another name that I love, you guys can see, is T-Mobile. T-Mobile, guys, it's a company you should always have. It's a leader in telecommunications. Look at the inverse head and shoulders pattern. I think it's the worst is over. You're starting to see some sideways action after a downtrend, starting to look pretty interesting and looking strong for T-Mobile here moving forward. Great dividend paying name, growth name, something you should always have. We can't live without communication, guys. T-Mobile is the leader in it. Another communication name that I like is Verizon. So very similar to Coca-Cola, guys. Very defensive name, strong dividends. I think it's like 4 to 6% historically on dividend yields. I mean, this is a name that's going to do very well in case of some crazy volatility. You have a great defensive name here with Coca-Cola and Verizon. Okay, so those are the accumulation inverse head and shoulders names that I really love. Let's take a look at the bull flags, guys, moving forward. So bull flags are continuation patterns within uptrends that we like to see. So the first one is Baba, guys. Take a look at Alibaba. Very interesting name. Look at the triangle that's starting to form, higher lows, right? And we're starting to make, we're testing sort of this trend line resistance that's starting to form. You guys can also see we have a sort of a mini flag right here as well. Okay, so anywhere around these levels, as long as it stays within this flag, could be a buy for this trend to start breaking above higher. You're starting to see an inverse head and shoulders as well on Alibaba as well, right? So hyper growth name in China, hyperscaler with AI. This is the name you don't want to bet against, especially for international play. Next one that I like is Carnival, guys. Carnival, again, same thing with anything leisure. I do like this name. Look at the flag that's starting to form out. Moving averages are going to starting to catch up to price here. Okay, so an inflection point on the moving averages as it comes down would be an amazing play. We did break above the all-time highs, guys, so it is in a very bullish sequence. So any dip is considered a buy. You can buy against the moving averages for a chance at continuation higher. So Carnival, and I think any cruise line could be a very interesting play moving forward. For Dino, HF Sinclair, again, tightening up. This is a very beautiful flag, actually, that's forming. Right? It's not impulsive towards the downside. You're not seeing huge candles like this. You're starting to see consolidation, guys. This is what you want to see on an uptrend when the moving averages start coming across and when you get a golden cross, right? So this is all the makings of a nice continuation pattern, right, moving higher. So keep a lookout for HF. Another name that I like is possibly Hasbro. So Hasbro has been killing it in the toy industry. So anything baby toys, right? Great name. Starting to flag out. Okay, you can start seeing moving averages starting to cross. You're getting a golden cross as well. This is the first time price is going to be testing the moving averages. So very nice, consolidation. So we like consolidation patterns rather than impulsive structures down on uptrends. Another name is Meta, guys. Look at Meta. Okay, starting to flag out. Very beautiful company. You guys know we're in from the lows from our Discord group, right? We bought in around the 530s, 520s. So Meta, you guys can see we broke above the all-time high. So very bullish structure. So it is a bullish structure, bullish sequence. It opened up a bullish sequence. So any consolidation is considered a buy, guys. Same thing with this, right? Any consolidation with the moving averages catching up to price is considered a buy. All right, next name is Magnite. Magnite is testing the moving averages for the first time. It's consolidating nicely, right? Very standard bull flag that if price can continue getting supported, this could be a pretty interesting play. Again, broke to all-time high, so it broke it's opening up a bullish sequence. So any play that's a dip is considered a buy, especially on the moving averages moving forward here, okay? Another cruise name that I like is Norwegian Cruise. I really like Norwegian Cruise, right? It is a lagging name compared to the rest of the cruise line industry, but you can see it's a lagging name about to have a golden cross here. So this inflection point is going to have a lot of confluence for buyers to look to step in before trying to push up and possibly get to all-time highs to catch up with the rest of the cruise line industry. RTX, guys, we mentioned this multiple times here. Okay, we're starting to bull flag out very nicely on this defensive name. You can see moving averages starting to catch up as well. So keep a lookout for the next couple of weeks here. This still might need some time to consolidate before higher, but you always want to have RTX on your radar. Synopsis. Synopsis is another play on semiconductors. Again, very interesting. Bull flag starting to form, consolidation levels. If you go down to the 4-hour, looking pretty good on the 4-hour. If you want to be more conservative, you can wait for the daily to push up a little bit more, right? But this might be time soon for possible reversal and continuation higher for Synopsis. Another semiconductor play that I like is Teradyne. Had a great earnings beat. You can see looking very strong as well. We're above the 200 daily moving average for the first time in a while. We could have sort of the moving averages catch up and have this inflection point here, right? So keep a lookout for this flag on Teradyne. Starting to look pretty interesting as well. And then finally for Wynn. So Wynn Resorts, as well as the rest of sort of the names across leisure, I do like. Again, Wynn Resorts, Hilton, everything's starting to look very decent in my opinion. Very bullish names across the moving averages, still consolidating. I think we have a possible higher chance of pushing higher, right, with buyers to step in across sort of these consolidation levels, right? All right, so that concludes the bull flags. Let's go to the pullbacks. So these are names that we love to sort of look for on major pullbacks. So the first one is AMD, guys. So AMD, I mean, very similar to the bull flags here, starting to look pretty interesting. If it does sort of consolidate with the moving averages starting to push through, you can definitely go in on AMD. I think AMD is going to be a $1 trillion company within the future, guys. So any dip should be considered a buy for the futures. So keep a lookout for some consolidation on a daily. It can still push up higher, guys, because this is a low. This could be continuous higher and then consolidation. So either or, very bullish on AMD as well. Another name that I really like is Cake, guys. Look at Cake with a possible wedge formation on the moving averages on the daily starting to form, and you also have the one-to-one moving or the one-to-one extensions as well, measured move. So buyers are trying to step in, trying to see if there's possible areas of support here. Okay, so if the buyers can step in within the moving averages, one-to-one measured move, wedge formation, good company, great earnings, great dividends, not a bad name, guys, to try to go for. All right. And then another name is Chipotle, guys. So we mentioned about Chipotle on the weekly 200 moving average. You guys know from the past, every time it reaches the 200 or around the 200 moving average, it did signal a potential bottom here. So keep a lookout for Chipotle. Could be interesting. Again, if you go and zoom out on the monthly, if you just take some Fibonacci ratios and fib retracement levels, the 618 is coming down very close, guys, to 39 to 33. So very interesting levels to try to take a chance at on Chipotle moving forward if you want sort of the best fast food, or not fast food, but fast casual restaurant for you to go into. All right. The next name is Coinbase. So Coinbase, we've mentioned this in previous videos, sitting right on the moving averages on the daily. This is the first time it's tested the moving averages. So very interesting, great levels. You also have the 200 moving average as support, right? So this is a really good chance to buy a pullback after it broke all-time highs. So making a very nice bullish sequence. We're making a bullish sequence, right? So you want to always buy the dips on bullish sequences and continue with this trend moving forward. Another name that I like is ELF. So ELF, guys, as well, starting to flag out. Moving averages, got a golden cross for the first time back here. Testing the moving averages, seeing if it can start making a bullish sequence and push higher. I do expect buyers to try to step in here, right? It filled the gap on this earnings beat. So let's see if ELF can, try to push and find some solid ground here to go higher and higher in the future. Interesting name as well, FizServ. FizServ, again, whenever it reaches the moving averages on the 200, right, it signaled a potential low. So possible buy here on FizServ. And you can see, let's take a look at sort of the fib retracement levels. It is within pretty interesting 618 levels, but I do see more pivots down here across 124, even the top here at 126. So maybe a few more subwaves down before it finds some support, right? A little bit lower, maybe 119-ish at the 786. So yeah, pretty interesting name here for FizServ as well. IBM, guys. IBM, very nice name on the daily. Starting to break the 200 moving average, but you guys can see every time it reaches down there, it's a buy. Okay, signaled possible bottoms on an uptrend. So who's to say it can't do it again? Coming down to weekly levels as well on the moving averages for the first time in a while, right? We're looking for IBM to start possibly looking for some interesting levels. It can come down all the way to the 382. Don't get me wrong, at 215. But starter positions here possibly make sense for IBM. And then another name is Rocket Lab. So I do like Rocket Lab, right? Consolidating nicely on the 4-hour time frame. Again, we just had earnings. Starting to wedge out possibly here on the 4-hour. Daily might need some time for the moving averages to catch up. Okay, but if this catches up, look for some consolidation. Look for some, flagging before higher on Rocket Lab. Okay. Awesome. So that concludes the pullbacks. Let's go to the final section, which is the earnings beat. So again, we love to take a look at companies that have beat their earnings this past quarter to position ourselves well if there's some buying opportunities. So for Amazon, guys, again, we bought in Amazon here, our latest buy. So we're up pretty good so far. But again, it can turn into a double correction. Try to test down these lows at 189. So really good times to add, guys. Starter positions as well. I think Amazon's a great name for the future. Trying to catch up to all-time highs here. So let's see. Didn't have the best earnings, right? One of the losers out of the Mag 7s, in my opinion, based on the growth of Amazon Web Services, right? AWS. So let's see how it can fight back and push higher here. But I think Amazon, any dip is considered a buy for the future. I mean, it's a great name overall. ASML starting to possibly make an inverse head and shoulders, but I mean, this might be a little bit too obvious. Algos don't like to make things too obvious here, but you guys can see did form possibly a wedge formation. Okay, maybe a few more subwaves down to reach the 618. We just don't know yet. But for me, I don't know what ASML really does. I know they have a monopoly in semiconductor sort of processes and whatnot, but for me, it's just too complicated of a business for my taste, so I'll skip this one. But for those that want ASML, I'm assuming it's a great name overall. For American Express, great name. On the moving averages, right? You can have a starter position. There's possibly another level down here as well if it breaks down lower for seasonality aspects. But, a huge earnings beat, guys. Huge. 5% above EPS. This is a great number. And, we did break towards all-time highs. You guys can see. So when we did break to all-time highs, that opens up a bullish sequence. So any dip is considered a buy on companies like American Express. DHI. You guys know for DHI, we've been in DHI from the lows here with the Discord group. So as you guys can see, DHI is a home builder. Every time it reaches the 200 moving average, it's signal to bottom. So home builders, in my opinion, are probably the most bullish names to go into for 2026. We've been in DHI. We looked at companies like Lennar as well, Builders First Source. These are all great companies to get in at the lows if you haven't already. And you guys can see we're up massively so far. It's almost reached our first level target. So let's see if it can keep pushing higher. Another name that's very interesting is Duolingo. Duolingo, weekly uptrend, guys. Every time it reaches the moving averages, signal to buy here. So it's probably going to try to consolidate a little bit here, right? And let's see. Let's see if it can sort of find buyers and push higher into the future. Again, you saw this massive drawdown because of the fact that the CEO mentioned that they're going to replace a lot of their workers with AI, right? That was the cause of that downtrend. So, people didn't really like that. They got a lot of social media backlash. But overall, I mean, great company, still growing, great earning speed overall. So let's see if Duolingo can continue pushing higher here in the future and keep making waves. JP Morgan, for JP, still very extended in my opinion. I think it can keep pushing higher after some consolidation, right? So you might see some bull flags starting to form, maybe one more higher, and then you'll start seeing a dip and then push higher, right? So we don't want to get in right now. We want to sort of wait for that moving averages to start pushing through as well. For Google, Google is a great name, guys. I think we're going to keep going higher here, right? I've been in Google for quite some time. I'm looking for all-time highs ultimately, right? So once it reaches all-time highs, after a series of subwaves, I think, right, you'll get that opportunity again to go into. You can buy on the dips as well for Google. For MODG, Topgolf Callaway. So Callaway, very volatile and risky name here. Topgolf, right, very expensive, not doing the best, but the Callaway brand is doing really well. So overall, if you believe in the golf story, which I do, okay, I think it is a pretty interesting position to possibly get in at, $8.38, $7, but very risky name. This should be a small portion of our portfolio, to be honest. But overall, I think Callaway has a chance to go higher. Look at the earning speeds, guys, right? It's just a matter of time before it turns around its business. Microsoft as well. I mean, huge name, great name. We've been in Microsoft from the lows with our Discord group down here, right? At the 300s, low 300s. So we're going to keep holding. Still very bullish, guys, overall, right? Daily moving averages is probably the level I'm looking at. If we do get a bearish break, right, you can buy on the moving averages moving forward to get a good, solid average price in. Micron, guys. So for Micron, we've mentioned this before, from the swing lows to the swing highs, right? We mentioned that you could possibly buy in at the 382 at 103 because of how much support you have on the left here, right? So good level. So you saw that reaction. So, you can buy the dips. You can put your stop loss underneath that 103 level and see if it can push to 146. Okay, so again, these are a lot of what we're looking for the pullback names, right? So bullish uptrend that broke the recent highs, pulling back to the moving averages, buying a position in the moving averages. So this is a classic, level to always get into, right? For Cloudflare, we're gonna avoid this one for now, but great company. Again, starting to, wedge out here. These patterns are not my favorite. I'd rather have this break and then buy within the moving averages here. Okay, so I'm going to skip cybersecurity for now. Netflix, like I've mentioned, guys, in the previous videos, again, very similar to Micron and the other names. We like when companies break to all-time highs, breaks the recent high, pulls back towards the moving averages. So that's the play. That's always the play. So we like that. And you can see Netflix is starting to react, right? So this is another name that we mentioned over and over again in Discord. So they are up pretty well for the members. For PepsiCo, PepsiCo is starting to look a little bit better. You can see the inverse head and shoulders starting to form, okay? And possibly a new break. If it can break above, 154, 160, that's the level that you'll see the breakout and then retest, right? You'll see the moving averages start curling. that's the inflection point that you can get into as well, or you can try to start a position right now if you wanted to, right, alongside that defensive name with Coca-Cola. PayPal, it's lacking a little bit, right? It's lacking a little bit here. I wouldn't be surprised if it can hold these 3-2 levels, right, at 70 and try to push up, but I do like it at 64 to 60, and if it does do some seasonality and some craziness, then you'll see $50 down to 41, which is unfortunate, but, you know, I've seen it happen, right? So you're looking for something like this in the future. Let's see. For now, I don't, I'm not a fan of it as of right now, right? Still in a very choppy area for PayPal. For Reddit, guys, you guys know Reddit has been my darling since the lows, right, with the Discord group. So huge uptrend so far. Any dip is considered a buy on Reddit, in my opinion. Okay, so look for that inflection point. For Rocket Mortgage, again, we're in front of lows for Rocket. Again, alongside DHI. We've mentioned that for home builders, for anything home related, guys, should be a buy going into 2026, in my opinion. I think the real estate market has seen its worst, right? So you're starting to see some nice breakouts. So look at this, guys. Broke to all-time highs, opened up a bullish sequence. So on a pullback to the moving averages, this should be your inflection buy moving forward. Shopify. You guys know how big of a bull I am on Shopify, right? We're up huge on Shopify from the earnings. Okay, I'm looking for that weekly consolidation, for that daily consolidation to happen, right? Again, we broke to all-time highs, opened up a bullish sequence. Look for inflection buys on the moving averages moving forward, okay? So I love Shopify, one of my favorite stocks. TMDX, looking very strong as well, right? Pushed to all-time, or not all-time highs, but pushed a bullish sequence here, right? Broke above this recent high, pulling back to the moving averages. You saw the reaction, testing it again. So it could be an interesting buy here, and also the 200 daily moving average as well. So TMDX, very interesting name to possibly get into moving forward. TSM, amazing name. Again, all these stocks are very similar in nature. You're getting a push to all-time highs, right? Consolidating. We like to buy in the moving averages or the 200 moving average as well. So possible reaction higher for a company like TSM. Okay, so keep a lookout for consolidation. And then finally, Visa. So we like Visa, guys, at the 618 level. Same thing with sort of MasterCard. MasterCard's coiling, right, into a triangle. You see Visa making a little bit more of a downtrending area. Okay, so keep a lookout for Visa at 325 down to 315 for that 618 level, possibly starter position in. Okay, so those are all the names, guys. Again, all the patterns that I love every single day. I actually go through every single stock to see which ones are fitting my criteria. And again, guys, come join Discord. You get the day trade ideas of exactly when I get in, get out. Swing trade ideas as well. Long-term trades, the signals, also the long-term portfolio, the 100x baggers account that I post every single day as well, updates on. You get daily charts, everything from Google. You get this every single day, right, to know exactly what the stock's going to do, what I'm expecting, everything from Palantir to Tesla to XOM, right? So everything that you need, guys, to be successful. So looking forward to seeing you here. Again, you're going to make a lot of money with us. Just take the chance. I'm telling you, we have over 2,000 members all making money together. So looking forward to seeing you here. Talk to you guys soon.